So, I am Jason.
I am Peely.
Okay, we are both certain who we are. It is Second Cup of Coffee, and today you are here with us. And I gotta say, something that's just blowing my mind is I'm not sure what the stock market is watching because it is going crazy, like it's the best day ever happening out there. So I don't know, and so it just goes to show you that sometimes there's optimism in things that they have a vision, and stock market's going crazy in an up way.
If anyone out there has any thoughts, ideas on this subject of what's happening in the stock market,
in a couple of days of this.
I know I was on Facebook and I saw some stuff about it. I think Jason Scott mentioned some stuff, and some other people mentioned some stuff about the stocks. And
yep.
I'd love to hear everybody's thoughts on what's happening.
Well, exactly. And if you look today, AMC, which just had said that they had enough cash available to make it to November, now looking at the way things come in and they're going to be opening up in the next month, might not make it, which of course is insane. Just to think about, going to movies there and just how that's going to change and how that landscape's going to change. But ultimately, that it's unfortunate, right? So I actually, we when we were flipping homes, we used to order from a cabinet company, go in there and they would set it up. And I actually just saw that they went out of business today. And you would think construction actually was still running here in New Jersey, but even the effect, right? So sometimes businesses, it doesn't take much to take you off board. So right now, got to continue to look at what you're doing, right? Because how much insulation do you have to your business to things happening? So if you have one major client, if that client goes away, well, what does your business look like? What does the landscape of your business look like? If you are just in a certain area, right? So what if that area transitions in a way that changes for you? So we just have to continue to look, right? All right, because we are going to have a road back, but it's going to happen in steps that are still not played out yet. So we want to really look forward, but don't forget to look at that next step. And that's part of our talk track today. I think we get these big goals in mind. We have these huge ideas of where we want to go, but the thing holding us back from getting there or achieving them or the road is that, well, we forget to look at that next step, right? So we trip out of the gate. And then that just basically sidelines us and we don't take any action because we're stuck where we are.
So how are you insulating or taking care of your businesses? And if you do have a strong business right now, how are you helping to get others to succeed as well? And for those who have lost their businesses, lost lives, lost family members, lost in this season that we are in, I mean, it is very, very crazy times, folks. Very, very crazy times. I don't want to say I'm sorry, but it's like I don't know what else to say. It's just it is mind-boggling what is happening right now between COVID and the riots and everything in between.
And we don't want the good get missed out, right? So the good of protest, the good of other things happening that maybe, it just like titles, right? So titles can scream loud. So, and I'll let you go because I see I do what I do best and jump in. And I will say,
I'm not mentioning just the evil parts. I am mentioning the good, but that's not. I mean, we can be here and talk about all the good that's happening, the good in the protests, the good in the Black Lives Matter,
good in people finding their businesses,
the good in people finding their businesses, just the good that's happening right now and the steps that we are all taking forward as in positivity and kindness and together and in unity. But that is not where I was going on this road. I was going on this tangent because
that's why it's a tangent. Because we're just on a tangent.
Yes.
Want me to pick up a step there?
Let you pick it up,
right.
Because I was talking about businesses and then got sidetracked.
Let's throw out, we'll pivot a little bit. So I was listening to James Altucher. I'm probably saying his name wrong. I knew of him, but I didn't really listen much to him, but just had an interesting point, right? So some of the things that are really going to come out of this is that there's going to be businesses that really grow, and their point right now is to help businesses adapt to the new COVID requirements. So if you look at that now, if you become the go-to person who in your state or states or counties or anything knows all the steps, all the rules that it's going to take for a business to become COVID prepared going forward? So what are all the practices here? Do we have to put up dividers between desks? Do we have to now bring in these certain cleaning products that do we have to have a certain cleaning routine? And you create this business that now implements these processes for businesses. That is going to become a massive business, right? Because you're going to be the facilitator to allow people to change. And what can we do with ourselves? We can think of ourselves like at that point, where can we be the facilitator in all walks of life? So for what we're seeing happening outside, for what we're seeing happening in our daily lives, where can we be that facilitator to create that change? And it's going to start with us, right? So we have to make that decision, and that decision to be that big future goal. But in the first step, well, what is that first logical step? What is that thing that's needed of us to do today?
So Jason definitely jumped on what my mind and my thought process was going.
Well, that's why we're a couple.
Yes. How can we help each other? It's really the main focus of, I'm not actually even sure what our focus is, but the main focus of what I want to get across today is how can we up-level each other in this time? How can, as businesses, as people, as a unified country, how can we help each other come out of this, everything that's happening? How can we extend our hand to our fellow business owner and let them know these are the steps to take to get your business going, or this is the step that you should take to pivot your business, whether it's real estate, whether you're in a restaurant, whether it doesn't matter where you are. But if you as a business are a step ahead or have a strong foundation right now, it's almost our duty, not even almost, it's our duty to lend a hand to those that don't.
Yeah. And so with that, how do we do that, right? Well, we listen more. We listen to what's needed. We don't ultimately assume. And for myself, I remember being in positions where I already had the decision made up before I heard the person speak. And there is some places where that of course is needed, but you have to continue to be open, right? Because if you're not open to hear what others have to say, then ultimately two things. One, if you agree, you can't get stronger with your message. And two, if you disagree, you can't talk clear to the points that you disagree with, because you've already made up your mind without hearing what the other options are available. And I'll talk back to, and I forget who I was just talking to with this the other day, but it was talking about languages, right? So I have horrible diction, right? So languages have always been trouble, but I've taken some Italian. I lived in Milan, Italy, and a couple places over in Europe for a couple of years, probably like 15, 16, 17 years ago now. So I lived there for like 2 years. And I remember first, maybe second day there, right? So it was one of these points where I get off, right? You get off the plane and somehow they lost my bag and I can't figure out how to call because I forget that you put the country code in, and just like a crazy experience, right? No cell phones, no ways I'm get on the internet to figure out where I had to go over to, the business I was working for at that time. So yeah, I finally get to the agency and go on that point, and heading over to the apartment, I go in to get a coffee and I see a brioche, right? And I see it in the point, and I try to communicate with the lady, this really nice elderly lady behind the counter, that I'd like that. And she's shaking her head no. And I'm like, oh, maybe she's, but I'm thinking like maybe she just doesn't like Americans, or I don't know. Like at this point, because I'm at this point, I don't know. I've had this day. Maybe I don't speak the language because she just wants to refuse it. Maybe they're closing. I don't know. So she gives me a pause look, right? So wait that moment. And what it was is that it was maybe later in the day. So forgetting, with the time change, who knows what it was probably 2 p.m, and maybe that had been out since the morning. And she was trying to let me know that she just was bringing up a fresh batch. And she didn't want me to have one that was old or stale or whatever it was from the morning, right? So for that point, she walks over to a fresh batch and gives it to me with the best smile. But you see where it goes here is I had in my mind that there was something I did or something happened that they don't want to give this to me, because ultimately I assumed that the thing that wasn't correct, right? So where are we assuming today? Where are we assuming something without really hearing what it is that's actually happening? And when we give pause, right? And maybe it's that point that next time you assume something, maybe just stop and just notice it. And it's like, it ties into meditation, right? Sometimes we think it's the purpose of not getting distracted, but it's actually the opposite. It's to notice and accept the distractions, right? Like as if you're hitting a whack-a-mole, like, okay, distraction, I see you. What's that same thing? Can we notice our distractions and our things that are taking us off course and say, okay, is that true? Am I making a right assumption or jumping to a conclusion without actually allowing myself to be open to hearing what is all the pieces?
I was reading the same thing in the book I'm reading, Everything is Figureoutable by Maria Florio. She speaks to the same thing, that we all have these ingrained biases, whether it's community oriented, whether we learned it from our parents, whether we learned it from wherever we learn all the biases that we have in our head. And those are the things, whether consciously or subconsciously, we go to first. When we see a certain person on the road, we go to that first. When we meet somebody for the first time, we go to that first. It's just something that happens in our heads. But the thing is, folks, we have the choice, like Jason says, to take that pause, to rewrite the thought in our mind, whether it's the nice old lady that's just trying to give you the fresh dessert, or it's the gentleman that stops in the middle of the road and is trying to get you to stop. And your bias in your head is like, he's trying to come at me, when maybe he's trying to stop you because he sees a truck coming for you. So you never know what that's going to be if you always assume, if you go to the bias that's in your mind. So I was talking to my friend Becca, who we're actually getting on a call later on today at 1:00. It is Mothers of Real Estate, Moms of Real Estate. It's basically a live accountability call with me, Becca Shea, Melissa Johnson, and Stephanie Betters, amazing investors in real estate. I cannot wait to talk to them again. But Becca posted something exactly like this. She talks about the biases that are in her head. And she says what she does is that she just puts on the biggest smile. Like, no matter what, when you meet somebody, the biases infiltrate your head. No matter who you are, color, creed, religion, I don't care who you are, you have those biases ingrained. But what she does to fight her own biases is that she has a good attitude, plasters a big smile on her face. And if that person smiles back, she automatically the thoughts in her brain rewrite. Now, this is not going to work for everyone. And some people might just think you're crazy because you're smiling big. But in your head, if they smile back, wouldn't you think, okay, this is just another happy human being who's happy to be here, happy to be with me. And you know what? You're going to automatically go to this, okay, I'm going to trust my feeling, my gut instinct, and I'm going to think this person is a good person, no matter who they are, where you're meeting them. So I thought that was worth sharing to everyone here. We actually passed the 15-minute mark about a minute ago. So if you are working out, you are
doing
at the halfway
overtime. But I was thinking with smiling, right, is that sometimes if we're having a hard day, we'll just make yourself smile. Mm-hmm. It changes your mood. Just taking deep breaths, it changes your mood, right? And just that act of smiling, right? And even if you go into, so one of my best tricks that if you are, so lots of times we work with a lot of, government agencies, building departments or others, is that just go in there and just be the nicest person. Because honestly, it's not you. And a lot of times we just think it must be us, but they're just getting beat over the head constantly all day long. So just go in there and smile, no matter what they are, and smile. And they can only fight that for so long, right? So at some point, they're just like, okay, like you're not going to come at me and attack me, right? Because they're behind the counter and just like constantly getting barrage of everything all day. So come out there with a smile, nice. And at that point, you'll be surprised how much that actually works, how much that actually builds, how much that actually is something that it's just such effective. And if you carry that through in life, you think about it like, well, why do I not do that? Like, why is there a reason for me not to go in there and smile and be nice to someone? And you continue that and you move it forward. And I'm not going to say things are always easy, but they will get easier, right? If we come with conflict in mind, we're probably going to find conflict. If we come with happiness in mind, well, probably more of a chance to find kindness, right? And so if we take that on anything we're doing, right? Even, answering a phone or what, like just even the way that you say hello, and even if like you're talking on the phone, right? So you want to have a happier talk. I mean, smile on your side of the talk, right? It carries through. I mean, it definitely does. It brings it through, even if the person can't see you, which 90% of Americans are on Zoom. So you can see you and smile anyway. So yeah, what are you doing? What'd you do for workout today?
Same thing I did yesterday. I walked a little bit more than yesterday though, because I was trying to get some stuff done on the phone. I'm not as good as you. I can't run and do that stuff. So I walked and ran a little less than 3 miles. I did 3 miles yesterday. And then I came home, did my 50 push-ups, 50 with Will. And we're actually going to jump on Will Smith's podcast very soon. And he's going to come on ours.
Awesome.
So I'm super excited about that.
So stay tuned for that.
Yeah. And that's what I did for my workout. How about you?
6 miles down today. That's usually my norm run in the morning. Yesterday I did 6 miles in the morning and 2 miles running with weights in the afternoon and some bike and kettlebells. And so today we will see. It was actually pleasantly warm out this morning, which is shocking because I've been preferring the cold. And we potentially have a 100-mile race coming up end of August, as we said in Canada. We will see if that happens. I don't know, but we really I wanted to do the Hurt 100. That was out in Hawaii. That was in January. Unfortunately, with all the unknown for travel, that's been canceled. That was something I was really looking forward to just testing myself with. So that's going to be a 2022, right? So 2022 there. But I'm not going to stop and wait and say, oh, well, I got time in between. Just keep getting after it daily, keep moving along, keep putting in the work. And I don't know, maybe it comes back up, but mostly likely not. But that's a race. If you're out there, you Hawaiians, we were coming for that Hurt 100. We'll be there to visit family.
Anyway.
Yeah. So that's what we got. Running. Tomorrow we will be back. We will be back, and we're going to be back with what we learned this week. We're going to talk about a few things that we're working on the pipeline. There is still a lot of activity going on from all sides, all business, and people are finding ways to help and win. And if you are not at that stage, well, today's your day.
So
tomorrow's looking good too.
Tomorrow is looking awesome. But let's focus on now. Let's focus on the present, because the present is a gift. Yeah. So in this present, we are so grateful to everyone who has listened today and to everyone who listens tomorrow and 200 years from now. Grateful to you too. And if you like what you heard, please subscribe. You guys are awesome.
This is my very good old friend Paul Harbaugh, and also my football coach when we were really back in little mini leagues doing some damage out there. And we were the best bunch of little rugrats running around. So, but we were doing damage, and I think we literally had run right, run left, run middle, and you can do a lot if you just have a focus and you think like, oh, well, that doesn't sound like a lot. How'd you get by? Well, we just did it. So sometimes you're really focused and you're honed in on your process. You do a lot of damage.
So you're saying we should bring Coach Harbaugh, you said?
That's right. Yeah.
Coach Harbaugh onto the show, and we can talk all about football and how this guy used to be when he was a kid. And if you want to coach 3 really young kids, 5, 3, and 1, they're basically coming at each other without the pad, so you could probably use your help.
A 1.5-year-old has a bump today that I don't know if he's recognized yet, but that said, so.
And Leo has asked what our channel's name on YouTube is. It is the Jason and Peely Project. You can go there and please subscribe.
I got you right there.
Yes.
Yeah. So over at Yours Holding, the Jason and Peely Project, a ton of fun things going on. So we've had some great interviews go on. Sean Whalen was out. Super cool story, and he was a very, very successful, still is. So there's not like he's passed. So successful lawyer, and started losing his eyesight. And instead of saying, you know what, okay, I don't know how I'm going to do things going forward, he has transcended into just being a massive success throughout all levels of entrepreneurship, speaking, coaching, helping other people just achieve the impossible from what we tell ourselves. And usually if it's impossible, well, if there's someone else doing it, it's not impossible. It's just you're telling yourself it's impossible. So that's what we got.
Stop telling yourself it's impossible.
Is it impossible to get 3 kids sleeping?
No, but it's rarely achievable.
I like it. See? Never impossible. All right, that's what we got. We will see you tomorrow. And today I will remember to do what I'm supposed to do.
Join us for your second cup of coffee every Monday through Friday at noon.
Live every day, bringing us our best content we've done so far. Super excited, super engaging, bunch of great guests. We're here to answer your questions, and we so appreciate you listening. Make sure to check this out.
Can't wait to see you.